Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a very late Smurf-inspired Valentine's Day set. This set had originally began as a Builder Joe extension, but then the weekend ran out and I had to go to work, so we're watching it now as a full cover tip. So I'm starting with the long square Beatles full cover tip. Once I make sure that all my tips fit sidewall to sidewall, I'm going to be taking the A180 grit file from Young Nails to crispen up that square shape and also get rid of the plastic tab at the end of the nail. And then I'm going to be using a 100-180 grit buffer from Amazon to take away the shine from the tips. Once everything is buffed and shaped, I go in with a base coat from V Beauty Pure, and then I cure this in a lamp for 60 seconds. So these are all the shades that I think I'm going to be using. I only end up using the purples, but this is from V Beauty Pure, and it's a very pretty pastel purple. Then I show you this pink with like yellow reflex in it. I don't end up using this. This is the matching shade I could find from Model 1s to that pink, and then I show you the Beatles purple that I use to match my glitter from V Beauty Pure. So I go in with those purple shades. This is the V Beauty Pure purple, and I do 2 coats on my pinky and my thumb. For curing in the lamp, I do tend to get these flooding kind of pools of polish at the tip of my nails. This has happened to me all the time, no matter how little product I use. So the best way I found to solve that is to flip the nail around and take a thin liner brush and pull that product back, and that helps me get rid of that pool and what would eventually be an indentation when I do a top coat. You'll notice that I have quite a bit of brush strokes and streakiness in my painting. What I'd like to do after painting is set the nails down for a couple of seconds and let the gel self-level. This just ensures that it's streakless and very smooth before curing. I'm going in with the Model 1's matte top coat over those 3 middle nails. I'm going to be doing art on them, so I want a matte surface to help my lines be smoother. Um, I clean up a lot while doing this. I make a lot of mistakes and I cut a lot of it out, but the matte top coat I think helps me have a safety blanket that I'm not, completely destroying my base color and staining it. I'm mixing together 2 blue shades from Model 1s, both pastel. One is just slightly darker than the other. I know this is not the most accurate shade for what the earlier seasons of the Smurfs look like. My Smurfs end up looking a little bit like Casper the Ghost because the blue is very pale. I tend to lean toward more pastel-y colors naturally, so I'm, laughing at the fact that they kind of look like Casper the Ghost, but totally content with this because I did try a more richer blue, a blue that was more authentic to the earlier seasons of the Smurfs, and I just didn't like it. I couldn't see my line work very well. Though it hit a lot of mistakes, I just didn't particularly like it. So I ended up going with this more pastel-y ghost shade of blue. Anyway, I start by drawing a circle for Smurfette's head. Um, she definitely, in the photos that I'm following, and I'm following like 5 different photos at this point, because I have no idea what direction or where I'm going with this set. I start with a circle because I can draw a circle, and those tend to really ease my anxiety. I cure this in the lamp for, I believe, 30 seconds because I didn't want to wait that long, honestly. And I go in with a very small dotting tool and make 2 circles for the eyes. There are more ovals. I can't draw an oval with a brush, but I can definitely do one with a dotting tool, so that's what I chose to do. I do hop around a bit while doing the face, because if something is frustrating me, it's just easier for me to do something else while I wait. And then I use the smaller end of this exact dotting tool to make the eyes, which for some reason I had so much anxiety doing. Eyes are so important, so placement matters, and I just hovered for a little while because I didn't want to ruin the set. I apologize for the lighting in these clips. I'm still learning how to set up my lamps and my camera and my phone, and so it gets better at the end of the video where I think I finally cracked the code, and hopefully my next video is better. But I'm finishing up those facial features, and I'm drawing the nose, which is basically an open oval and Smurfette's little smile. I give her some eyebrows, but this definitely gets covered by the hair in a few minutes. I forgot about this. I made a mistake and I had drawn over the eyes, which technically the picture says that I need to do. So I'm just filling in that white space that I took up with the nose with the blue, and just kind of crisping up the nose line basically. I give Smurfette some eyebrows, but this gets covered up by the hair, so I probably didn't need to draw it, but I drew it anyway. Smurfette's hair is 2 ovals, essentially, one being horizontal and one being vertical, and then any kind of body or strands that one might see in hair, I do through my very limited skill in line work. I am definitely very new to this, so the fact that Smurfette's hair looks like it exists and it has a body, I'm pretty proud of. Filling this in with a nude color. I did not realize I wasn't recording when I did this, but it's a nude shade from Model 1s that runs on the yellow hue. I would have used a yellow, but I only have one yellow, and that yellow tends to wrinkle in the lamp. So I do 3 coats of this nude shade before I'm happy with the opacity, and then I go in with some black gel liner from Kiara Sky. It's like the gel pods, and I do the line work, which is basically me outlining the body of the hair and adding in a few lines to represent individual strands and a curved line at the top to show that she has hair overlapping itself. I'm going to note that I'm curing for at least 60 seconds in between all of these coats, and 30 seconds when I do like line work or these smaller facial features. This just makes sure that if I drop the nail, which I do tend to do, I'm not messing up all my work, but also that colors don't bleed into each other. before completing the hair, I do go ahead and outline the various features of the face and darken up the smile and the nose. When I did it originally, I was using black gel polish, and the polish that I have is not the most opaque black, as you can see. So this is where we got to the point where I hop around a lot, and this is when we start adding body to the hair. Now, I'm still using the Kiara Sky Gel Pod. I am not the best at using this, like, gel liner, this paint. I don't think it goes on smooth, and I have so much issues with it. However, I think this is just due to skill and the lack of it, and I know the more I play around it, the more I figure out the best uses for it, the better I will be at using it. But I do just need to get a more opaque black gel polish. I apologize in advance. My camera has a very hard time focusing with this white and keeping balance and shade, and I don't think the white rubber base coat on my nails is helping much either. But Smurfette's hat is essentially a cone and then a oval hanging off the top of it. I draw those shapes first and then I outline, because that really helps me know where things are and how much space I'm taking up. I outline each section individually, and then I add a few lines where the oval and the cone meet. So that's about like a third of the way down the hat, and those lines indicate wrinkles. So I'm finishing up the outline around Smurfette's face, and that would be Smurfette's face concluded. I make sure that I'm curing for at least 30 seconds or 10 seconds even, it just depends how impatient I am, in between each of these line work. I'm very clumsy, and I've dropped this nail in this one section at least 5 times already, so I make sure I'm curing. Now I'm going in and making Smurfette's dress, which is basically a triangle of white nail polish. I try to do a flared out base, you'll see in a second. There's no reason for me to do this. I could have done a simple U upside down U bottom, and that would have been sufficient because I do this in the line work. But as I learn how to do art more and more, I realize some of these steps are not necessary, but it's how my brain processes, especially since I'm not good with art and these are skills that I'm learning. Ahead and fill this in. And again, my camera has a really hard time with these whites, and I don't think my nail polish is helping, but I am not the best at drawing arms and legs yet, so I try to do as little of that as possible, which is why Smurfette ends up being this entire fingernail. But her hand ends up being a happy little accident where I accidentally misplace where I was going to put the brush, and it kind of looked like a hand. It was kind of like an open C, so I stuck with it. And here I am going in outlining. You can see that kind of like shoe shape, open shell shape that my her hand has taken in. The hand honestly took me so long to do that I ended up cutting it out because I needed it to be really, really close to my face. But it really is just 2 lines filled in, and like I said, a happy little accident that turned into something that looked like a hand, so I kept it. Now I'm going in with that same purple shade. I realized that Smurfette's background doesn't really match with the rest of the nails. It doesn't look as cohesive, so I end up filling it in with that purple color. I top coat most of this set with the Melody Susie top coat to ensure that you don't feel any of the extra ridges and bumps from the nail art. And then I go in with my middle nail. My middle nail is an envelope with a heart on it. I don't realize that I'm not recording, so essentially it's a white rectangle with 2 triangles that meet in the middle, and I use this Model 1 red shade to draw the heart. And I do this with the dotting tool, so it's 2 circles that touch, and then I bring it down to a point. And I go over this, I think, twice, curing in between each color so that I can get the opacity that I want. This is now Clumsy Smurf. His face shape is very similar to Smurfette. I ended up actually having to clean him up a little bit because I drew his face a little too wide. But he's a circle head with an oval attached to the side for his ear, and his hat ends up being pretty large, but I think it worked out because it was Clumsy Smurf. So it's the same thing like Smurfette. I draw a cone shape and then an overlapping oval to create that flap that most of the Smurfs have. So the reference photo that I'm following for this notes that Clumsy's eyes are kind of hooded by his hat. So I draw 2 semicircles to depict that his hat is going over his face. And I do clean this up a couple times. You'll see I think I come back and it's just fully shaded in, and that's because these eyes took me forever. I am a perfectionist at heart, so naturally anything I do, if it's not perfect in my eyes, I will keep redoing. Start doing Clumsy Smurf's nose, which is quite large in comparison to Smurfette's, and it's because I was getting lost in the placement of everything. Now I'm filling in his eyes, and I want Clumsy to be like really shocked because in my mind what's happening here is he wrote this love letter to Smurfette and it somehow got chipped. So it being on the other nail is essentially it being chipped, and now he's like freaking out because this love letter is sent and he has no way of getting it back. His mouth is just a oval. You guys will notice the Smurfs, they love a good oval, so I tend to draw ovals, and a little red tongue. I outline the tongue in white first and then go over with the jelly red because it just wasn't opaque enough to be as bright over the black. Okay, so now I'm going in and outlining Clumsy Smurf's eyes, and this is what really brings together that shocked perspective that I want him to have. and then I go in and I do his ear. Now I take creative liberty with his ear because I like these pointed fairy-esque styled ears, so that's what I give him. Usually his ear is supposed to be round. This ear took me so much time because I just couldn't get it to be the way I wanted it, and my hands were really shaky. And then I draw the inside of his ear as just an upside down U and a spiral in between, and that works great for me because this ear was not doing what it needed to be done. His hat is the same as Smurfette, so I just outline it the exact same way. Now his body, I have no direction in where I'm going. I start with this bean shape, and then I give him some legs that I end up covering in the end, but I'm kind of feeling this out as I go. I'm no longer following a reference photo because I just run out of space on the nail to do what they have, and I don't think I have the skill to do what was drawn in those photos anyway. So I make him this very long bean shape, and I go ahead and give him some arms. And his arm is just an extended thin rectangle because I don't know how to draw fingers. So now it's time to draw Clumsy Smurf's pants, which is basically me filling in the entire bottom section in white. I don't end up using these legs because my brain couldn't understand how to make those look like legs, so I fill this entire section in with white, and then I take the black liner gel from Kiara Sky and draw a line down the middle of it to indicate that those are his legs. I outline this in black as well, and I think that's what really brings this together. So I outlined the rest of him in black as well, and now I want to give him somewhat of a shoulder so his arm just isn't this kind of obscure hanging out line, or I guess rectangle. So I draw what would be a shoulder, which is basically a very small upside down U, and I add some black gel liner to the very top of it, and I shade that down. Well, I blend that down using rubbing alcohol on a brush, and I also go over his entire background with the same purple glitter shade to match the rest of my set. I believe Clumsy gets a very thick coat of of Melody Susie top coat because I definitely messed up a lot on this, so he was a little thicker than Smurfette. And that's Smurfette and Clumsy in my very late Valentine's Day set. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.